Graciera Bavaria. Hello, how you doing, my friend? Thank y'all for tuning in. I've been at it most of the night. I've only got a few songs left in me. I've been at it for hours. I'll try to give you a few more before I shut down. My other phone just went out. I had a bunch of folks on there, and it just went out. All those songs I played, though, will be on my channel later. And so I'm finishing up right now. But okay, let me see here what I got.
Hearts on fire, chasing reckless dreams. We burn too bright, then lost the flame. Too wild and late, but I do it again. Every time you get through thought,
I know I'm getting sleepy, really tired, sleepy, because I missed a note while playing that song. Oh, excuse me. I closed my eyes to shut out the distraction, but I also closed my eyes, as weird as this sounds, because when I hear music, it's like I fall into a trance and I stay locked into it. I've had people, they have a lady that runs a snowball stand, and she told me that when I'd be playing in my van with the guitar hanging out the driver's side, because I drive with my PA system and amp in the van at times, and I've got inverters where I can plug in everything. But they've come up to me and they told me the next day, we tapped your shoulder and everything, and you didn't acknowledge. You just had your eyes closed and kept playing. It's like I get locked into it, and I'm glad it's that way, because you see, you might have not have caught it, but I did. At one point while I was playing this song, I dozed off to sleep real quick. And I heard the note mess up soon as I did. There's a difference in falling into that musical trance and going to sleep. It looks like I'm sleeping most of the time, but I'm not. Once I'm playing, as strange as that sounds, I'm in a musical trance, and when I play out in public, that's why I've got to take these with me. The amplifier and everything has to be zip tied down inside the carriage that I play in public with, because anybody could just come up and take the amp and grab things and run off with it, especially in New Orleans. But where I play in the city on the waterfront, on Decatur by Cafe Du Monde, everything's under camera. A lot of people don't know that when they're visiting New Orleans, Louisiana, but when you go to that waterfront and stuff, everything's under camera. But that still don't guarantee you're going to get your music equipment back. So that's why when I go out in public, I tie everything down. And if I have a little thing where people could put money in, boy, I've got a bunch of straps on that, because I seen one of these YouTube videos where a guy was playing in Paris, and he had a bowl about 15 feet away from him. I thought, how crazy. Somebody come by and saw all that money that people had given the guy, and they just picked it up and ran with it. He's 15, 20 feet away. Oh no, I've never set up that away. I've had that thing where it's hooked to that carriage, and I've got a bunch of those things. It would take them a while. I would wake up. I'd get startled, or they'd move it around trying to cut through it. I'd wake up in time, and usually I carry Bear pepper spray with me in case if people tried to jump me and rob me over there in the city. At least I got something. If you get that stuff in anybody's face, forget it. And they're just going to stand there and try to catch their breath. Now you think about it, if that stuff will stop bears that's got claws that long on them and hands bigger than your face, if that stuff will stop a bear, it costs about $40 a can, but it's worth it. When I see these people that's got squatters that have rental houses and they can't get them out, I thought all you got to do is buy your can of Bear pepper spray, spray it in the air conditioning system on the outside. Oh, they'll come flying out that house, and then you can go on in and change the locks. Yeah, I remember one time I was at somebody's house and I spent the night, and I had that Bear pepper spray in my jacket pocket. And somehow I went to turn over in the bed, and my hand hit the trigger on it, and it just went just that quick, just a little like that. And they were in the living room. Now I was in bed, and they were walking down the hall coughing. You see, that air conditioner picked up just that little swish of it. That stuff is so strong. If you think pepper spray's bad, it's nothing compared to Bear pepper spray. Isn't it crazy to come out of a nice song and start talking about Bear pepper spray? Look, I'm tired. Okay, let's see here. You see, I've been trying a lot of new music that I haven't played before. A lot of these blues songs are new pieces I haven't played before. If I like them, I download them.
We've been lost for some time. Since that night, he stayed around. But there's something has no sense. Why haven't I met your friends again? I'm confused. It's a mystery. I feel like you're ashamed of me. Don't whisper that you love me. Say it out loud. Don't whisper that you love me. Show me your pride. Tell me you want me by your side. Love is something you shouldn't hide. Don't whisper that you love me. Say it out loud. You don't take me out. We always stay in. Talking about places I've never been. If you love me, tell me for sure. Don't leave me feeling insecure, babe. When you're in love, you should show it. Don't let me be the last one to know it. Don't whisper that you love me. Say it out loud. Don't whisper that you love me. Tell me your pride. Tell me you want me by your side. Love is something you shouldn't hide. Don't whisper that you love me. Say it out loud. Say I love you, I love you, I love you. Why don't you? Say I love you like nobody else. Say I love you, I love you, I love you. Why don't you? Love's not a secret. You keep on to yourself. Tell me you want me by your side. Love is something you shouldn't hide. Don't whisper that you love me. Say it out loud. Don't whisper that you love me. Say it out loud. Don't whisper that you love me. Say it out loud.
You know, I got an appointment at 8 o'clock in the morning. I better set my alarm. I gotta get some sleep before I leave to go to that appointment. I'll probably have to shave again too. Um, I think I better end it. Let me play a country song, something soft and slow. Let me try to find something a little soft and slow. try to end it. In my heart, I want to keep playing, but my body's not cooperating. I've been up all night. I spent hours doing artwork before getting on the guitar. Let me see if I can find something that's very soft. Okay. Boy. Wait, I know where. Let me go to my. Let's see. Woman's Got Ways. No. Black Paris Blues. No. Big Daddy Wilson. Moi. Now that the magic is gone, do it all for you. Don't play that song for me, Aretha Franklin. Oh, here's one, and I have not played this song hardly, maybe one time, if that's it. But it's a slow, soft song by Alan Jackson. I'd love you all over again. And I'm going to say good night. Thank y'all so much.
Has it been 10 years since we said I do? I've always heard marriage made one seem like two, but you're looking better than you did back then. You still make this old heart give in. And if I had it to do all over, I'd do all over again. If tomorrow I found one more chance to begin, I'd love you all
Okay, I thank y'all for tuning in, and por favor, and Tanella Donis, please pardon me. And hasta luego. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I said I've got that appointment in the morning. I'll go lay down and try to get some sleep, and I better set 2 alarms to make sure I don't oversleep. Thank y'all once again. Like I said, I've been at it for hours before even picking up the second phone. The other phone, all the battery was used. So I've been playing for quite a while here. And before that, I spent hours working on a piece of artwork that I'm looking at right now. And, but anyway, I feel like I'm about to fall asleep. I did fall asleep for a quick second on one of my songs, and I messed up at that very moment. Then the sound entered my ear that a wrong note was played, and it woke me up. I knew a drummer. His name was Larry, and his wife told me this. And knowing Larry, I believed it. He's dead now. He passed away. And but Larry used to play in nightclubs drums, and he drank. And you can take one look at Larry pretty much at the time, and I don't mean this demeaningly, but there's some people you could just look at and tell that if they're a drinker or not. And Larry would get up there and he'd close his eyes, just like I closed my eyes to play guitar. He'd close his eyes and he would fall asleep playing the drums and would not miss a beat. It didn't matter what kind of music they was playing. Larry would fall asleep, and he was being paid to perform up there on stage, and he was able to get a good nap through it all. Wouldn't miss a beat. His wife said he would not miss a beat. He'd fall asleep playing the drums. That's how music is very important. Music will put you to sleep if you play the right kind. You don't need no sleeping tablets. If you play the right music, it'll put you to sleep. And that's one thing I like about music. Music is like, I cannot think of the name of that insect that changes. Is it, it's something about million. It's, I can't think of the name of that insect that can change so many different colors. And it takes on so many segments, and that's music is unending, it seems like. You know, I mean, there's so many different avenues it can take. And just when you think you've heard every lick that could be picked on a guitar, you hear somebody else come along and they play in a style that you've never heard before. I mean, it's like it's endless. Just like the raindrops during the rain is almost endless. Well, that's how music is. There might be millions of different kinds of country music, millions of different kinds of blues, because everybody is different. Even identical twins are different, and we all got things pent in us, and we seek a way to bleed that out of us through music. Those of us who go down that alley, and you could take one song like I've just played and put 100 different guitarists in a room and make them all play that song one by one, and every one of them's going to pick it different. They'll, if they're good, they'll stay in the right key, but you can be in the right key, and all those guitarists will still pick different notes to make it, to go along with it. And that's one thing I like about music. If you don't feel like rocking and rolling, and if you want something just on the soft side, you could pull up something by Simon and Garfunkel, like Bridge Over Troubled Water, something real soft, or some Dylan music that don't think twice. There's just so many slow pieces that you can pick that's very calm and soothing. But anyway, I know how I am. Before I get ready to fall asleep, if I'm talking, I'll keep rambling on if I don't shut it. I'll go from one subject to another. I've caught myself doing that. So, Ganj yoga. Yeah, so many people call me granddad and pops because they could see I'm old. I'm over 70 years old. I'm over 71 years old. I'm over 72 years old. I'm 72 in a few days old. And it's a miracle I made it this long in life. And most people that you will ever see on this planet nowadays won't even live past 50. And why is that so? It's not because of their diet. We're going through a dilemma, and you see these nations know that we're a nuclear power, just like we know of other nuclear powers like Russia, Pakistan, India, and et cetera, Israel, and I forgot where I was going with that. I forgot where I was going with that. I was talking about myself and being as old as I was. Uh, so what nations are doing now to kill one another's youth is they're using drugs. They know that if they hit us with a nuclear bomb, it's uh, since there is such a thing as nuclear submarines, we can hit them back. And you can bet every president of every nation has already given that order to their admirals that if we ever have a first strike, make sure that you all that are out there in those submarines, you go to that nation and you hit them back. And once a nuclear bomb's dropped, that's it. It vaporized. When I see what happened over Hiroshima, and to think we got bombs now that's probably 1,000 times more powerful than that, that will vaporize just everything. It vaporizes buildings, concrete, steel, human beings. You just disappear. The heat is so much. If a nuclear bomb landed in a graveyard, every granite tombstone would disappear. It's like taking the sun and bringing it down. So, since they know that if they hit us, we're going to hit them back, even there's no such thing as a first strike when it comes to nuclear bombs that we can't strike back because we have nuclear submarines, and the world powers know that. So the way they try to kill our youth and to overcome us is through drug warfare. And so China, they make sure that fentanyl, uh, and fentanyl is a good medicine that can be used for good. The evil's not in the drug, it's in the people that use it and abuse it. I've had fentanyl given to me from my mouth when I had to go through mouth surgery. They gave it to me when they stuck a needle this long into my side, into my liver to take a biopsy years ago. And in spite of that fentanyl, I was able to feel that pain. But they use it in modern medicine. And the methamphetamine, well, that's used with people that are extreme obesity. There's people that weigh over 500 pounds and close to 1,000 pounds. They prescribe, in every drugstore that you'll ever see in the United States of America, there's methamphetamine. It goes under the name of Desoxyn. So the things that they're using for evil, there's a positive good use of these medicines if it's used rightly. But the governments of other nations have seen that if we kill each other's youth, they won't have nobody to recuperate to put in their service. And once they weaken down and they don't have enough personnel in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Green Beret, and the Air Force and whatever, we'll catch them at their weakness and just bomb them with conventional bombs. Well, I heard the other day, I'm just giving you a little news before I close out, that only 23% of all Americans are eligible for the service, to go into the service because of obesity, if nothing else. And in other words, they're digging their graves with their teeth. They're eating too much. And on top of that, when I think of all the people that's going to die with drugs, and that's how other nations are warring against us. They're sending drugs over here to be sold out on the street. And look how many hundreds of thousands of people we've lost because of that. And to our knowledge, the United States don't do that to any other nation. We don't send drugs. Well, I got to take that back. Years ago, no, it was just last year, I think I seen a video. We're a very hypocritical nation, don't get me wrong. I'd rather live here than any other nation. I think I would anyway. Well, there's some other places I'd rather live than the United States. I got to take that back. There's some islands that I wouldn't mind living on instead of the United States. But they showed how we went over to Afghanistan and destroyed all the poppy fields. Well, they showed the little kids and they were crying. And they had investigative journalists there. Why are you crying? Well, there went our Christmas. There went the money that our parents was going to make for Christmas to buy us toys and such. Well, then those investigative journalists went in town and they started questioning people. What do you think about the United States coming over here and destroying our opium poppy plants? They said, well, they said, look what the United States does to us. They send their liquor over here. They send Jack Daniels over here. They send Bacardi rum over here. They send all their liquor over here. They send all their tobacco over here. And that diseases our people and gives them lung disease and such. And so why should we be villainized and look like the bad guys because some of our nations turn around and give them a taste of their own medicine? Instead of sending tobacco and alcohol, we'll just send fentanyl over to your people. You don't mind sending all that stuff over here to kill our people, but yet you holler and scream that we're the villains when we send these drugs. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to justify it whatsoever. I wish they wouldn't send no fentanyl over here. But with the open borders that we had over the years, you can bet foreign governments really took advantage of that. They probably sent their chemists over those borders where they can make the stuff right here on our soil, and they furnish them with chemicals and such. There's so much going on in our nation that's destroying our youth. But because of, getting back to what I said, yeah, a lot of people, no, I don't use Viagra. I promise you I don't. I never have in my life. Somebody asked me that there. And so anyway, it just, most people in the United States won't make it to my age because of these foreign nations sending all that fentanyl over here and all the people that's abusing it. And like I said, there's a proper use to fentanyl. A dentist used it on me when they had to knock me out to do mouth surgery. And I had to do a liver biopsy years ago. And they gave me that and went in there and did what they had to do. And so, I mean, there's a proper use for it if it's used rightly. And but anything that can be used for good of mankind, you can bet there's going to be some people out there that's going to use it for evil. And so, and just like food, there's nothing wrong with food. And just like guns, there's nothing wrong with guns. The evil's not in the guns. It's in the heart of mankind that takes the gun and goes and murders his neighbor out of malice. That same gun can be used to kill venison and put food on the table. The knife that butters your bread, should we outlaw knives just because somebody cuts their throat with it? I mean, people keep looking at the device instead of the evil that's in the heart of the person that's abusing the device. What about gasoline and glue? You could put gasoline in your car, but some people sniff it in a bag to get high. Some people glue model planes together. Other people sniff it to get high. The evil's not in the substance itself. It's in the heart of man that abuses that stuff. And so, getting back to, I was saying people call me Gramps and all that. Yeah, I'm old and I know I look it and I show it. You can see it in my eyes and in my face that I've been on the planet for a while. And I am very forgetful. I am very forgetful. And I even went and got tested a while back. I purposely wanted to be tested on my memory because I forgot one day on how to pop the hood on my car. I was in there and I wanted to put water in the car. And for about an hour, I kept pulling and I thought I busted the cable. And so I decided to fall asleep for a moment behind the steering wheel. And then when I finally woke up, I looked down there again thinking, why? And I even crawled down in the dirt underneath my van looking for a busted cable. And it dawned on me, I was pulling on the emergency brake instead of the thing that pops the hood. Now that scared me. I went to a neurologist after that and they tested my memory and it came out all right. But you see, when you get on up in age, you start, sometimes they call it being feeble minded. They call it Alzheimer's, but actually, the Bible calls it feeble minded. That's why there's a scripture that says, comfort the feeble minded, support the weak. There's script, that's verbatim. There's scripture in the King James Version Bible that says that. So you see, our medical personnel calls it Alzheimer's, but actually it's just being feeble minded. And some people don't get feeble minded as quick as others. Some are able to have their sound mind up into their 80s and their 90s. Some of you probably know people that's way on up there in age, and they still got their right mind and stuff. But like I said, a lot of people will never live as long as I have because of what these foreign governments are doing to us with this fentanyl crisis. And they said the other day that 23%, only 23% of Americans are eligible to go into the service. And they said it's because of obesity. In other words, they've ate themselves into gluttony to the point to where we can't even use you in the service. You're too overweight. It would take us months to put you on a strict diet, and a lot of people, once they're told that, they don't even want to go into service after that. So, it's just, but we are a hypocritical nation. I don't like speaking ill or evil of the United States because I live here and I enjoy the liberties and stuff that we have here. But I do see the hypocrisy too. Once I saw that video on YouTube, how we went over there and destroyed those opium poppy crops that probably would have been used for heroin production and such. And some people would say, well, that was good. We done a good thing. When I saw those young children crying, and they said, what are you crying for? And they said, well, they went our Christmas. Our parents, they can't make that kind of money growing rice. But when those journalists went into town in Afghanistan and said, what do you think about us coming over here and destroying those opium crops? They said, well, we don't think good of it because, you don't want us sending our drugs over to your nation, and rightly so. But yet you turn around and you send your liquor. You let all your alcohol producers send your liquor over here and your tobacco over here and your wine over here and your pornography over here. And they send all that, and that contaminates our people and gives them lung cancer and cirrhosis of the liver and all that. And yet we let, our government allows all that to come in, and you make us look like the villain, and y'all are doing the same thing, but and our government might say yes, but alcohol is legal and stuff, and they can say, well, yes, opium's legal over here, so anyway, we are a bit hypocritical the way our government does that. I mean, we go over there and destroy their crop. And let me tell you, if any of those people from Afghanistan got in a plane and came to the United States and flew over our tobacco fields and killed that tobacco and bombed our liquor producing shops, they'd kill them. They'd shoot them right out the sky. But yet, they think it's right to go over there and destroy those people's crops. So I could see how, just using that as an example, what other nations of people look at us that, we're the villains, just like we look at them like they're the villains with the fentanyl stuff they're sending over here. And I wish they wouldn't send it over here. And I wish people wasn't dying from it. But yet, in a sense, and I never gave it any thought until I saw that video on it, when those people in Afghanistan made the argument, y'all are sending your liquor over here, you're poisoning our people with that, you're sending everything, you're sending your wine, whiskey, and tobacco and all that, and that's killing our people. And we don't go over there, we don't burn your tobacco fields down and stuff. So And it all does come back down to the individual people and the decisions they make. You know, you've probably heard it said, to every choice there is a consequence. And that is true. To every choice there is a consequence. And but you see, other nations know that the United States is a heavy drug abusing nation, and they take advantage of that. And the way they're warring against us, because they know they can't hit us with a nuclear bomb without being hit back. It's called MAD, M-A-D, uh, mutual aid destruction, something like that. In other words, if you hit us, we'll hit you, and we can do it because we got nuclear submarines. And so anyway, that's the way nations war against one another. At least that's the way they're warring against us. To think if we only got 23% of our people that can be inducted into the service, and chances are in another year we might not even have that many because of this fentanyl crisis that's taking place. So, but it's really nothing new. It's always been something. If it wasn't fentanyl, it was heroin. It's always been something in the drug world that people have made that choice to abuse their bodies and and once again, all the stuff that we villainize, there's a proper use for it. It can be used for good. Guns can be used for good. Drugs can be used for good if it's used rightly by medical personnel that knows how to dose it out. And I mean, I'm glad that when I've been operated on my back, I'm glad they didn't strap me down and cut me open to remove a herniated disc years ago when I fell offshore. I'm glad they didn't do that and put a rag in my mouth and told me to bite down on it. I'm glad they put me completely out. And and they had morphine. I had to take morphine every 3 hours. Now this was pretty much around close to 50 years ago. I fell offshore and I had to have a back operation as a result of such. And when that happened, I was a young boy, but I saw the good use, that there is a proper use even of narcotics when it's used rightly. But it's the abuse of it. It's just like it's the abuse of food and drink that causes most Americans they're not eligible. Our youth, because they've ate too much and gained too much weight, and the service looks at some of our youth and thinks, and they're assured it'd take a year to get all that extra LARD off this human body. And you got to be able to run and jump and stuff out there on the war field. So, but that was pretty scary. That was a wake up call to me when they said only 23% of Americans are eligible for the service. So that's what foreign nations are doing, is they're not hitting us with nuclear bombs because they know that we'll just hit them back. And everybody's vaporized after that. So they figure they'll get to us with drug warfare, and so that's what they're doing. Every day you wake up, you see it. I mean, it's all over YouTube. You can see video after video where, people get stopped out on the interstate and stuff, and they catch them with all that stuff, and then their life is ruined so much after that, because then they got to be sent to prison, then they got a felony on their record, then when they get out, chances of them getting a job, a legal job, all that's going to weigh against them unless they're highly skilled in some kind of way. I mean, it's a downhill thing after that. And it's sad. I've looked at so many of those videos of people being stopped and caught and hauled off to prison, and we're just living in some sad times. Now, just yesterday, I read that there was a lawyer. We've got one lawyer in the United States that's locked up for the rest of his life right now. He even stole from his own law firm. Well, just in this state that I live in, they had a warrant out for a lawyer's arrest. And he was entrusted with $450,000 of a trust fund, and these people died. And instead of him taking the $450,000 and giving it to the people like he was supposed to that inherited it after they probated a will, oh no, that money looked too good. He was going to go out and party and have a good time with it. And Court order after court order couldn't get him in court, so they had to put out a warrant for his arrest. And now he's saying, oh, I had a drug problem. Just send me to rehab. Don't send me to prison. And there he got more money stealing from that family that won't even never see that money now. $450,000 somebody worked for, left that for a family. So you see the point I'm making. Lawyers get in trouble, go to prison. Doctors get in trouble, go to prison. I mean, it's sad. I mean, when I see all the pitfalls that people fall into, uh, it's just getting so bad with the crime and everything. You know, let me share this with you before I close out. You see this here? This is what policemen use whenever they stop you to arrest you. I've got two of them. One of them quit working right, but it was the SD card in it that messed up. When I put another SD card, I never would have bought this one had I known that that's all it needed was a good SD card. But it's gotten to where now when I go out, usually everywhere I go, I'll wear this thing. And I've got it going, it's like 10 hours or 10 and a half hours. Because when I look at all these videos on YouTube and I see what all's going on, and how people, look, I've had people come up to my van while I'm playing the guitar now. They'll come up to the van, try to grab the guitar and pull it away from me. And all under the guise of, oh, we want to see your guitar, we want to see what kind it is and such. And they see I'm old and probably weak, but usually when I play in my van, I don't put sometimes I do, but I've had people come up to that van, and that was their purpose. They wanted to take that guitar from me because we have a casino near. Wherever there's a casino, people lose everything that they have. And they're looking for anything to steal so they can go hawk. So they don't have to go home to their wife and say, we don't have milk money for the baby this week. Because I went ahead and I lost it at the casino. So they get desperate and they'll go out and steal from somebody else to run to the pawn shop to pawn what they've stolen so they don't have to go face their wife who's ready to divorce them because they're addicted to gambling. But I have a camera hanging from my van that from the ceiling that aims out the window while I'm playing. I also have a camera here on the dash that's aimed to the window. I also got a camera aimed to that window. And I had two guys come up there, and I knew they didn't know what to say. The camera stunned them when they saw the camera. And it was all over them. They was wanting to rob me. I know they was. I was at the end of the seawall. And they drove up and pulled up behind me. And they came up to the van. When they saw the cameras, they said, well, we just want to hear you play something. I knew that. I didn't believe that. But because there's so much crime now, it's worth a $50 investment to get what policemen have. And whenever you're traveling in your vehicle, you can put this on the dash. It'll stand up with the thing there. It'll stand up. And you can film yourself everywhere you go in case somebody runs out in front of you and they blame it on you. You got it on film. You got it on camera. But you go in the grocery store, wear it in the grocery store. Everywhere you go. Because when you get older and stuff and you know there's a lot of crime out there, it pays to where when you leave your house, you document everything. You have something to wear. I'll give you an example. I had a relative that had a bad neighbor. This neighbor was just bent on causing them trouble, and they didn't know that the neighbor had been listening to their phone calls for years. Somehow he wiretapped it or had a scanner or something, and he was able to listen to their phone call. And every time he'd pass their house, he would just look at them, and he would flip them off. And so what happened, this person finally went and bought him a pair of glasses, and that had a little camera right in the middle there. And so when they'd pass the house and flip them off and stuff, they were filming him. And then when they called the cops, they had evidence. Because when they'd called the cops before that he did this and that, he'd look at the cops and say, well, now, why would I want to do that? You know, and you got to have evidence. And because there's so much crime out there now, it's gotten to where when I leave the house now, I want to film everything. And sometimes I'll be wore it out in the yard just in case somebody comes up to me and wants to cause trouble. You know, and we're living in a time to where you don't want no he said she said thing. You want to have evidence. You know, somebody's asking me, "What do you think of cigarettes?" Well, I'm thankful by the grace of God only I don't smoke. I don't smoke and I don't drink. And my mother, she smoked most of her life, and I did everything I could to try to get her to quit. And she ended up the last couple of years of her life, she couldn't smoke because she had to be hooked to an oxygen tank. And everywhere we drove her, uh, we had to have that oxygen tank. Well, thankfully she had insurance and everything, and Dad left her well off. And so we had the little rack with the little oxygen tank, and then we had a electronic machine to put next to her bed to where she could have fresh oxygen. But to see her get down so weak like that, and then when she would cough, oh my, the cough would just linger on and on and on. It was painful just to listen to her cough. So I'm going to tell you, some people would say, well, why did God put nicotine down here? I'm going to tell you why he put nicotine down here. Nicotine used to be sold in cans, like bucket-sized cans. And what they would do, they'd put it in nurseries where they grew tomato plants and different plants. They would bust that can and they'd run out. And that can would shoot that nicotine dust all over. And it kills aphids on plants. So it's good for that. And also, if you ever get a bee sting, which happened to me in a church service when I was real little, and a man outside the church, when I got outside, he chewed tobacco and he rubbed it on that bee sting and it took the pain out. It's the same way if you're out on a shrimp boat and you're separating the shrimp from the fish. If a catfish, which happened to me, that stinger went through my finger. Boy, you talk about painful. And the guy that ran the shrimp boat said, grab that same catfish and rub that where he stung you, rub it on the slime of his belly, and it'll take the sting out of your finger, and it worked. So there's proper uses even for nicotine. But my mother used to say when I would talk to her and talk to her and talk to her, one day she told me this, and I left her alone after that. I thought there's no need to talk to you about it anymore. She said, I don't want to quit smoking. She says it calms my nerves, and I don't want to quit. It's one of the few enjoyments that I have in life. So after she said that, I said, oh well, you know, I'll use scare tactics and everything, and she ended up, and some people take that attitude, well, I got to die of something, so I'm going to enjoy what I can while I'm down here. But because of this drug thing, a lot of people will never live to be as old as I am because of the fentanyl, if nothing else, that's flooding our streets. And so many people, even tomorrow, even today, let me see what time it is. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. I've only got 2 more hours. In fact, in 1 hour, I've got to be ready to leave here. So I may as well kiss sleep goodbye and just wait till I get back. But anyway, yeah, it's, I remember when I was a kid, I used to look at people that were 50 years old as people that were ready to die any moment. Because when you're young, even 50 years old looks like, oh my, they're over the hill and everything. But anyway, yeah, once you get old, some people retain their strength. It has a lot to do, I guess, with what you keep up with in life. When I was a young boy, I joined gyms, and I was able to do 450 push-ups in 23 minutes, and I used to back arm 65-pound dumbbells. and that's a lot of push-ups. I had a brother-in-law one time. He didn't agree with me. He said, "Oh, you can't do no 450 push-ups." And my sister, who was married to him, said, "Oh yeah, he can." And I got down on the floor. The TV was playing, and I popped that 450 push-ups. And I was just blessed being young. I wanted to take care of the body, and of course, if you look at me now, I'm a little overweight, and I don't do push-ups anymore. I try to do sit-ups, but that's about it. But I injured my back real bad offshore years ago, and for about 20 some years, I did office work. After I injured my back, I had left welding, but years later, I went back to welding after 20 some years, and I hurt my back again. And I just had an MRI about a week ago because I started experimenting headaches, and they told me that 4 discs, they showed me on the TV thing, 4 discs are pinching my spinal column going into my brain. That's an alarm I had set for 6 o'clock. But so that lets me know that that's why I've been having that problems. Well, I bought this machine that really works. It looks like it's made out of metal, and it's got a roller on the end, and it's got 2 strings that come down. But it's got a mask that you put on your face, and you got to hang it almost from a tree limb. But I had nailed a board from tree to tree, and you turn this thing, and it snugs the machine on the board. You put the mask on, and you start dropping your weight, or you can stand up and just keep jacking it, and it pulls up your neck and stretches it really, really good. And that relieves a lot of pressure from those nerves pinching that spinal column. You know, it's hard to go through this life without having some kind of issues, because the body does start to decay after a while. I'm so thankful I got my original front teeth and bottom teeth, but some did break off in the back, and I do need dental work, but they're wanting $2,600 for that, and I don't have $2,600. And every time I get my Social Security, by the time I pay rent and everything, I'm not saying this by complaint, but I just don't. Now, if I was going to New Orleans and playing music out on the street, yeah, I think in just a few days I could raise that. But my van's broken down right now, so I need to get it fixed before I can make money on the side to add with Social Security money. I had to pay, I've already paid $270 for the x-rays. And they said that if you pay half of $2,600, we'll let you give us like $100 a month. And so I do hope to get that taken care of, because once a tooth breaks down to the gum, and I've still got crowns in my mouth back there that are holding up, and just a crown is like $1,300. But when I was working all those years, it was nothing to go to the dentist, no matter how much it cost. And the doctor I'm going to today that I have to go see, they have me sit in front of a computer, and it's people from the Philippines that interview me and ask me questions. They told me it's only $12 to get a tooth pulled over there, and it's $150 to $180 in the United States to get a tooth pulled. But if that tooth breaks down to the gum, then they have to knock you completely out like you're doing heart surgery. They have to slice into the gum, and they have to pull that out. And there's no way that you could stay awake and have them do that with just Novocaine alone. So that's something, God willing, I'll be facing with in the future. Just if you ever have one break down to the gum, that is something. So, but between the cradle and the grave, most people will be faced with colonoscopies you have to have done every now and then. Kidney stones. Now, some people might not never have one, but if you ever have one, you'll never forget it. Sooner or later, everybody's body, I think, well, I say everybody, there might be some people that might make it from the cradle to the grave without one. But I've had a number of kidney stone attacks that I've had to deal with at times. And I've had to call the ambulance to come get me and run me to the hospital because of it. But anyway, uh, it is what it is, you know. I'm not complaining, not at all, because I have a cousin that years ago I went to visit him. He dove off a bridge and he was 16 years old. And when I left that hospital after seeing him, and he had four other kids, none of them over 16. I didn't know I was visiting five people when I went into that uh, hospital in Louisiana. And he was paralyzed from the neck on down. And of course, he had a colonoscopy bag around him. When you're paralyzed, you can't get up and walk and go to the bathroom. And I thought, now there he is, 16 years old. He'll never go on a date. He'll never drive a car. He'll never pick up a pencil to write a letter. He can't even push the button to call for the nurse. They had a frame built around his face that held a straw 1 inch from his mouth. And when he needed to call for help from a nurse, he had to blow through that straw. Now, the other boys that were paralyzed in the same room with him, they were like paralyzed from the waist on down. So they could still use their upper arms and stuff, you know. And they can still drive a car because they make them in a way to where everything's done up here on the steering wheel, the gas, the brakes, and all that. But this poor boy, from the neck on down, he was my cousin, and I thought, uh, everything that's done with him, other people will have to assist. He won't even never be able to get out of that bed unless somebody picks him up and puts him in a wheelchair. And I thought of what his family was going to have to go through just to accommodate their child and to spend the rest of their life taking care of him. People would have to feed him. I mean, everything has to be done. And one thought come across my mind: what if a roach crawls across his face at night and goes up his nose? To think that he cannot lift his hands or his arms up to do that. And I'm going to tell you, when I left that hospital that day, I thought to myself, man, you don't have nothing to complain about. No matter how, whatever life throws your way, you don't have nothing to complain about after seeing what you just saw. As long as you can walk, talk, hear, speak, and see, and get up. And I drive a bicycle maybe once a week. I like to do some kind of exercise. I don't want to just sit around and freeze up. But anyway, yeah, it's I wish you well if you can, from the cradle to the grave, go through life and never have to go see a doctor. But because sin entered into the world, that's why our bodies decay. But one day we live with the hope, those that are Christians, that will have a new glorified body, and you'll never have to worry about not having dental money. And you know, you can go. I've got Medicare and Medicaid that covers almost anything. And one time, years ago, I had to have 3 bottles of tablets. And those tablets were $3,600 each, not per bottle, but per tablet. That was $93,000 for 3 bottles of medicine. And I had not received Social Security yet. And I had to wait 2 whole years before I was approved. I mean, I lived in tents even. Uh, so I know what that life's all about living under bridges and living in tents and stuff. I've traveled from one end of the United States to the other when I was younger with just a little tent that I would put up at night to live in and stuff. And because I was young, now I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of got into it. I thought it was free-spirited, you know. Now you know what the other side of life's like. Because, I mean, it's not that I didn't have a dad that didn't provide. No, we were blessed. My dad owned his own trucking company and stuff. And we were really blessed. We lived on Beach Boulevard. and Beach Boulevard property is probably the most highest expensive property you can get. But my dad was really blessed in the business world. They named the street after my dad in this town where I live. And we lived on when I say Beach Boulevard, whenever we as kids wanted to go to the beach, all we did was just cross. Uh, all we did was just cross the road. We crossed the road, and there was the beach, the sand beach, when we'd have people, our schoolmates, come spend the weekend with us. Boy, they knew. Look, we knew as kids growing up, we had it made and stuff. But anyway, when I was young, I just caught a wild hare, and I thought, what would it be like to hitchhike from one end of the United States to the other? And so I did that. I wanted to see what it was like, and I left with 78 cents in my pocket. And I got out there, and I had some Vietnam jungle boots on, and had some jeans, and I stuck out my thumb. And back then, I was young, and you catch a rod real easy. So I went from California, and then I went all the way back to New York City, and I stayed up there for a while. So I know what it's like. I've been through the states, and but anyway, here I am now, on up in age, and like I said, I'm blessed now with medical insurance, two medical insurances, but it doesn't cover dental work. So for those of you who may one day live to be as old as me, just remember that once you start drawing Social Security, or you might have Medicaid as well as Medicare, once you get 65, you get Medicare. That means once you get that card, you can travel. I've already checked. You can travel from one end of the United States to the other. If you get a headache or anything and you got to go to the hospital for anything, they'll roll out the carpet for you because they know they're going to get their money from that Medicare card. And if you got two insurances, but you know what it won't cover? It will not cover dental work. And some people die from dental problems. If you get an infection, and as painful as that is, the only thing that kills that pain usually is a clindamycin. It's an antibiotic that they give you. That kills the infection. It's the infection that causes the pain. But that infection can go to your brain and cause you to have a stroke and die. So even dental problems and dental work cost a lot. I never had a problem with it growing up and while I was working and stuff. I was blessed to earn good money and stuff when I worked, and being a welder, I was really blessed. But once again, now once you get on up in age and you're not working anywhere in the working day world, uh, if you ever have dental problems really bad, and so I'm looking at $2,600 for the some back teeth that broke down to the gum, and oh, I hate it. That I can't. I even bought those things that dentists use to pull your own teeth and everything. But once it gets infected, you can't even take your finger and touch it without you going through the roof because of the pain. So that is the one thing to think that my insurance years ago paid $93,000 for 3 bottles of pills. It was chemo. They call it chemo. I had to go through. But yet they will not cover dental work. And you can, and here's the trick that they pull on you, these insurance companies. They don't want you to have what's called regular Medicare. They try to get you to give up your Medicare and go to Medicare Plus, and that's a trick, because once you go, and I'm not going to fall for it, once you go to Medicare Plus, they say, oh, we're going to give you dental work. No, all they give you is just a couple cleanings and maybe one tooth pull. Well, that's nothing, because if one tooth goes down to the gum, you're looking at maybe $2,000 just for that one tooth, and they're not going to cover that. They're not going to cover that. And then no doctor wants to fool with you if you go to Medicare Plus. I've been in doctor offices where they said we do not accept Medicare Plus because it's no longer the government that's going to pay them. It's an insurance company if you go to Medicare Plus. And then the doctor has to call the insurance company before they treat you for anything and beg them and say, are you going to pay for their medicine? Are you going to pay for this operation? And some of the poor people, if they get through the operation, then they go to the pharmacy and their medicine ain't covered. And the doctor has to change the medicine to something lesser. It's just one big mess. So those of you who might ever live long enough to get your Social Security stuff, just remember, it's not going to cover dental work. So if you can save some money on the side for your dental work, please do so. I've got somebody said, I like your hat. You know where I get these hats at? I get them from Temu, Temu. I order them online, and even a woman in a wheelchair going into Walmart days ago complimented me on my hat. Even at the medical place, they like this hat. But I got a bunch of hats, all kinds of hats. And when I play music over in the French Quarter, I've got this hat that actually has pigtails hanging from it. It looks like something a street person that's old that wants to be a hippie would be wearing, something like that. You see, when you go to play in the city and you're playing out on the street, you want to fit in with the whole scene of what other people look like that might be out there playing. If you go out there on the street and you're all dressed up in a suit, nobody's going to help you money wise, hardly. Uh, uh, you got to just kind of blend in and look like you got to look like a street person almost if you go to the French Quarter. You just don't go, if you're going over there to play because you need some money and you're entertaining people on the sidewalk like I have done, you just don't want to go dressed up in a suit. You know, I usually just wear my jeans, a jean shirt, or some shirt, and I wear this hat. And I had a guy come up to me that wanted to buy that hat from me, and I wouldn't sell it to him. He gave me a $20 gift that day, but he was wanting that hat, but I didn't want to give up my hat. It wasn't this hat, it was the one. I actually had that hat made for me because I know what the French Quarter looks like, and I know how people that play out on the street and stuff look like. And now one person said, Michael, I'm the real Michael. Are you Michael Grimm by chance? I do play Michael Grimm's music. Michael Grimm won America's Got Talent, and he lives out in Las Vegas right now. And he used to live just a few miles from where I'm living right now in this state. But yeah, Michael Grimm, we all are very proud of him. He won America's are you a car guy, sir? I've got a van. I'll always want a van, and here's why I will always want a van. Because there was a time in my life when I was waiting for this treatment and everything. Times had gotten hard, and uh, I needed this. If I would have got treated, chances are I might have died many years ago, and I needed to go through chemotherapy. And so during that time, I lived in a tent from time to time. And so I thought, you know, the next vehicle I get, I'm going to get me a van. And now I am a commercial truck driver. I do have a commercial license, and from a young boy, I've driven a truck. But I thought if I had a van, not only can I travel to different welding jobs, and I could save my per diem money because I could sleep in my van at night and just take a shower at a truck stop. But if I ever had to go homeless ever again in my life, if you've got a van, you've got a steel tent on wheels, and I feel secure having a van. If I was to give up this place and quit paying rent and go back to living in the van, look, I've got 2 bedrooms in the van and thick foam, real comfortable. I got a sonic fan in there. I've got batteries that can run that fan and inverters that I can plug my music equipment in and play. And I'll always want a van. And my van's broke right now, but I hope to get it fixed soon. I bought a new starter for it, and I've done a bit of work on it myself. I do hope to get it fixed. But until it gets fixed, you know how I get around? I drive a bicycle. But the only place I ever have to go is usually just maybe to the drugstore once a month and to the grocery store. That's about it. Just grocery store, and once a month maybe go to the drugstore. You see, I've had kidney stones, and nowadays uh, they came out with a medicine that it's a non-narcotic. It's not a narcotic. Usually for kidney stones, if you go, they give you morphine and stuff like that. But you can ask any medical personnel the best medicine you can get, and I carry it with me at all times in my pocket. And that is, in fact, I carried it so much that the writing has wore off through the sweat of my pants. It's called Toradol. Toradol, little white tablets. It's non-narcotic. When you take it, there's no euphoria from it. You don't feel anything. It's no different than taking an aspirin. But what it is, a neurologist told me that Toradol is a anti, what do they call it? It's an anti, where it shrinks something. I can't think of the terminology now. They said it's an anti, it stops swelling, in other words. But she said it's that type of drug that stops the swelling on steroids. It's not a steroid in itself, but I wish I could think of the name. It's not an anti-spasmodic. It's an anti-inflammatory. That's it, anti-inflammatory. See, when you have a kidney stone, it can be the size of a grain of sand, but it will run you out of your mind. It'll make you scream for your life. It's so painful. But what the Toradol does, it's a non-narcotic. You never have to worry about being hooked on it or anything, and you don't feel no high or nothing on it. But what it does, it shrinks the urethra. Because what causes the pain is that wherever that stone is, it inflames, and the flesh part of the urethra starts pressing against that stone, and it'll run you out of your mind, and the pain is so bad to where you can't breathe. It gets to where you can't breathe because you can't even hardly take the next breath. I remember I was laid out on the pavement in the driveway, and I had to call 911, and it was hard for me to get the words out, I'm dying. And when in 5 minutes seemed like 5 hours before they got there. And on the way to the hospital, they gave me the morphine and didn't feel it. It was like they gave me water. And so when I got to the hospital, they gave me some more narcotic. Didn't feel it. I kept hollering and cutting them up. And when they finally gave me the Toradol, which is a non-narcotic, all of a sudden it's like the pain disappeared. So when I found out what the name of that medicine was, I will always, in my whole life, I carry it in my pocket in case I'm out in public. If I was to have a kidney stone attack, I could take one. And it's not anything I have to worry about being stopped for or anything, because there's no euphoria. Don't get you drunk, don't get you high. But it's an anti-inflammatory. It will take care of kidney stone pain. I was amazed when they told me that they were giving me after they tried the narcotics and it didn't work, and they told me they were giving me a non-narcotic. I thought, oh no, if a narcotic don't work, any other medicine's going to be outlaw medicine. It ain't going to work. But it did. It shocked me. It really does. And I've had kidney stone attacks a number of times. So I'm very, very blessed with health. Other than kidney stones, other than kidney stones and back issues, and my mouth. And I hope to get the dental thing taken care of. It's just a matter of getting enough money, getting up about $2,600 to get that taken care of. But other than that, just the dental work and the back issue. And I hope not to have no more MRIs because it lasted for about, each session was 20 minutes, so it lasted over an hour. And they had to put a brace over me and then push that brace up into that tube. And I had earplugs in my ears, but the MRI, I never, talk about claustrophobia. I don't want to go through that again if I can help it. But other than that, let me see what time it is. Other than that, about the only medical problems I have at my age. Like I said, discomfort in my back because of those discs that are pinching my spinal column and my mouth, and kidney stones. And so I've got something for the kidney stones. And I usually keep antibiotics for the mouth if it does get infected. But I use a water pick and baking soda and different things to try to take care of the mouth. You got to take care of your body. If you don't try to take care of it, nobody else is going to do it for you. So overall, when I look at the issues that other people have to do, when it comes to your health and everything, and like I said, my cousin there, boy, when I saw him being paralyzed from his neck going down at 16 years old, when I left the hospital that day, I thought, oh my, you don't have nothing to worry about. You don't have nothing to complain about. There's always somebody that's worse off than you, no matter what you face with in life. So anyway, Thanos, hello, and anyway, looks like we got somebody on there that's out of their mind. You know, one thing about it, I'm sure y'all are reading what I'm reading there. That's a sign of depravity and people who don't know the truth. And so one thing I like about when you go online, if anybody puts anything up there, you won't see it on the screen, but all I have to do is take this finger, and when I touch that little emblem next to their name, you won't see it happen, but it goes to another screen. And when I touch, they give you three options. You could, and you're going to see that disappear off the screen in just a moment, what they have put up there. But I will touch it, and that person will never be able to come on a screen when I'm live ever again. The only way they'll be able to sneak on that screen is if they use somebody else's phone or somebody else's computer and they come on under a different name. But you see, when people go on live, they give you that type of authority to be able to do that because they know that young kids and some people's going to get on there and, you know, become vile and vulgar and stuff like that. So I don't let stuff like that bother me. I just get rid of them. Watch this. You're going to watch them disappear. Watch this. Okay, so you see, no, they'll never be able to come on again. Regardless whether I'm playing music or not, they'll never be able to come on my channel ever again. It's that easy to tend to. Anyway, in about 30 minutes or so, I should be having somebody come pick me up, and I've got to keep an appointment today, but I thank you all that have stayed with me this long. And y'all have a wonderful day. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll know when I'm on live, and you can come back and see me later. Okay, y'all take care. Good night.